Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to A Little Bit Unhinged. I remember the name of the podcast this time.
Whoop, whoop.
Bonus points for me. This is the only podcast that absolutely saw the Aurora Borealis across the country. The only one. Congratulations to us. This is a second special podcast because our special guest is back.
Woo.
Karen, hello.
Hi.
Hi.
I loved it so much the first time I decided to come back.
Not to be confused with 2 weeks ago.
No, look, this is a different Karen
Definitely
appearance.
a different day.
Casey is also here. Mascot is napping.
Yep. Hello, everybody.
Oh,
I'm doing the deep voice,
hello,
too.
hello, everybody. Hi, I'm Garen. I'm also here. We are going to talk about games today because it's our gaming podcast day, but we're going to allow Karen to do our gaming introduction.
Oh, how exciting.
I know, so that everybody can learn. It's nice because I think we've established that Casey and I are, even though we have similar likes, we're very different gamers in the way we game. And so now, Karen, we get to add you to the flow here. And I think it'll be very interesting. So first...
See, now I feel like I should have listened to your previous podcast so I could know what your gaming likes are.
Well,
I'm just kidding. I did listen.
I was about to say, I thought you did. You bitch.
she said, wait a second. That's the one I thought you listened to.
Anyway, go ahead. Sorry.
Karen, what's your favorite types of games, genre of games? What do you enjoy to play the most?
You know, honestly, I'm a really big fan of like the I don't know if you've seen them a lot on like Steam lately. That's where I game the most. But the finding cat games.
The finding cat games.
Like
yes.
but the reason I like them is because I like to watch TV, and so I can sit and watch TV and play that game
Understood.
so I mean, I know that's not really a genre, but like I'm a big fan of like the hidden object kind of stuff because it's nice and relaxing after work to sit there and find some cats and watch TV. But I like platformers a lot.
Okay. Are you a Metroidvania kind of?
To a point.
Okay.
I've never been a fan of the aspect of those games, I guess, that I kind of don't like is, one, I'm not very good at games. We'll just establish that.
I don't believe that's true, but
straight out.
I told him, don't jump off as he leapt to his
did.
death.
Yeah,
so.
I know. But like, I am not a fan of games where I have to play something like 50 times in a row in order to achieve it or get past it.
Understood.
So sometimes I have a hard time with that aspect of those kind of games. But yeah, big Nintendo fan.
Big Nintendo fan.
Yeah.
How much, like, are you NES days? Do you still have some NES games you like? Is it Super Nintendo?
So like my first recollection of playing games, I would say, was NES, Duck Hunt. The classic, right?
Classic.
I was like 6 or 5 living in Illinois, and the little boy that lived the street behind me had an NES, and I used to go over and play Duck Hunt at his house all the time. So yeah, NES, I played that. My first Nintendo console outside of the Game Boy, because we did have one of those, was a... Oh, no, I forgot. Not a GameCube. What was the one before it? Oh my goodness.
N64?
An N64.
Oh,
yeah.
Right. Yes.
We weren't going to get one, and my dad was going to a trip to Vegas, and he said right before he left, he was like, if I win money in Vegas, I will buy you guys an N64. And he didn't win anything the whole time. I'm assuming this is a true story. This is how I recollect it. Didn't win anything the whole time. He was sitting in the airport and his flight got delayed. And if you've ever been in the Las Vegas airport, they have slot machines.
So smart.
Yep. And he won $400 while his plane was delayed. And so he came home and had to buy us an N64.
No, I will say as an aside, the most money I've ever won in Vegas is at the Las Vegas airport, like $100.
Nice.
So there we go.
I don't know if I've ever really won money in Vegas, but I don't play a whole lot of slots. But
I've done well in the sports book, but that's a different episode.
Yeah.
I won at 3-card poker in Vegas.
Nice.
Very good.
I got a full house. I won $150 off of it.
Yeah, that's good.
That's living.
But like in between those experiences, the NES and the N64, the gaming system we had growing up was a CDI.
The CDI.
Which,
you might be the only person that I've met in real life that had a CDI.
Yeah?
Maybe.
I don't think they were very popular.
No.
I don't know.
They were not.
And they were expensive, I think, at the time, because they were one of the early disc.
They were the very, if I remember correctly, they were the very first disc-based gaming system. The only reason we had one is my dad worked for Philips.
Oh.
So we got one free, I'm assuming. I don't know. He might have paid
Or
for
at least
it.
a
I don't
solid
know.
discount.
Yeah, but we got one, and then like a lot of the games, because we had a lot of the games, but a lot of them were not in their actual cases. They were like demo versions that
right.
he would bring home from work. So
That's cool.
that was a lot of my like formative gaming experience was on the CDI.
What games do you remember playing for the CDI?
So, Nintendo had a deal
Right.
with Philips at the time to do a couple games. So Hotel Mario, I was a big fan of. I don't know if you're familiar with that one, but you basically were Mario and you were in a hotel, as the name suggests, and you had to like close doors, like go up levels and close doors, and there were a bunch of different like hotels that you did this in. I don't know. It was fun. I've also played the infamous Zelda games.
Infamous
from
Zelda
the CDI
games. Indeed.
games. That was my first experience, I guess, with Zelda.
I mean, all the lore was there at least, so you got all that.
Yeah, I don't remember getting very far in the games, but I definitely remember the crazy cutscenes that like are on the internet today. If you go look up that game, I
emulated it once. They're pretty goofy.
They're very goofy.
Yeah. Goofy.
Did that. There was like I don't know. There were a bunch of games we used to play on that. There was a Midway game we used to play. Mystic Midway was I think they finally pulled that to PC a couple years afterwards, but it was like you were in a circus or a fair and you had to hit different targets.
Now, I just want to establish, Karen, no one listening to this has ever seen anything about these games except for the Zelda games.
I know the Zelda ones are the only ones that are like really popular.
You are currently our subject matter expert as far as the CDI and the CDI experience.
Yeah.
So you could really tell us anything and people would believe
Sure.
it. So
yeah. It's a lot of fun. I wish we still had it. I mean, my parents might still have it, but I don't know. I should ask them.
I wonder what they go for now. Are they still? I bet they're hot in the streets.
They might be.
I bet they're hot in the streets.
If they'd still work, I don't know.
So CDI, and then any formative things after that you?
So then I moved to an N64. We had a Super Nintendo at one point, but like later. It wasn't when it actually came out.
Okay, wait. Before you continue, let me ask you a question.
Yeah.
You play Wave Race?
Yes. You talked about that in the first episode, and you had never played it, right?
I have not played
and
it.
And I actually think I messaged. Did I message both of you or just Casey?
You sure did.
But I think I messaged as soon as I listened, and I was like, "What the hell?"
I know.
We could go play that.
We could
later tonight because it's right there.
You have it? Yeah. I was like, I think I have it too.
I think I actually have to stream it when I play it. Like I'm gonna have to put it on the internet.
I think you should
for people to see. Yeah.
That's one that I'm really surprised that Nintendo has not brought back.
Yeah,
like
kidding.
some of those games that like I'm just really surprised that they haven't.
It would be great.
Released.
It would be great.
Because I would spend so much of my money to get a new version of Wave Race.
Right?
Great.
Like Wave Race, Pilot Wings. I used to play that a lot.
Pilot Wings, man. Yeah,
good stuff.
Okay. Now let's move to. Wait, I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. Any other gaming moments?
I mean, those were probably. I mean, I played PC back then too, but I mean, it was like do you remember? So I used to play on PC a lot. Jazz Jackrabbit.
Oh yeah.
Did you ever play that? I loved that game.
Yeah.
That, and then there was a checks game that came in the checks boxes.
Yes.
That was Doom, but it was redone to be checks.
Yeah.
I loved that game a lot.
Yeah. Jazz Jackrabbit.
Yeah.
Dude, like that was the days of like Commander Keen and Jill of the Jungle, and beautiful time in gaming.
Pitfall, a lot of
Pitfall.
like SimCity. I used to play that a lot.
Old school SimCity.
Yeah.
Nice.
Roller Coaster Tycoon. I was a big fan of those.
How many roller coasters did you shoot off into space?
Well, all of them, because I was terrible at building them.
Casey, did you ever Roller Coaster Tycoon?
No, I For whatever reason, computer games were never something that I played, so I didn't do a lot of early Sims.
So you were a console person?
Yeah, because my dad was a console person,
Okay.
so that's what I ended up playing. We did have Hover on PC, and that was
Okay.
literally the only
Okay.
game
Okay.
up until I bought a game, or bought a computer in college to play games, and got Steam, but...
There was a game we used to play a lot that I feel like was a demo that ended up on a lot of Microsoft or like Gateway computers or something. But it was like you were a pilot, maybe over the desert, and you shot like rockets at other like vehicles and
Was it like
planes.
isometric, where you could see the ship, the thing that you were flying, or were you in the cockpit?
You were in it, I think.
So that
But
was
I don't remember what game it was, but it was really like popular. Like, and I want to say it came with the computer, but I might be wrong.
that was the heyday of those games. Like my dad was a big airplane game guy,
Yeah.
so we had F-117 Stealth, and we had Chuck Yeager's one, and it had all of the planes, and we had the helicopter one. I probably played all of them.
Yeah.
I think they're fantastic. I fired up Flight Simulator yesterday
Nice.
to play, but it's a 1.6 terabyte install if you install everything.
Wow.
Because I wanted to play Dune, because they've got Dune in it, and Top Gun
Nice.
Maverick, and I didn't have the patience for the day and a
like-
half it was going to take.
I was going
for
to
it
say that'd
download.
have to take forever, right?
I have the ability to play it on stream, and you still have to install stuff to stream it.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I was like, okay,
That's
no, thank
crazy.
you. Okay, all right. Well, that is great. But I want to get to the meat of what we talked about. What
Okay.
you got here to talk about, which is what we're playing now. But I'm going to start with Casey, because are you still playing Rebirth, or did you finish it?
Still playing it.
Okay, and how do you feel about it?
I like it a lot. I'm probably 3/4 of the way through.
Okay.
Maybe more.
Is this your first time, or are you replaying?
First time playing it.
Okay.
It
I've
just
never
came out
played
a
it,
few months
so-
ago, so
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
yeah. So this is the second one. Remake was the first one.
Okay.
That is older, and I've played Remake before, so I'm currently on my first playthrough of Rebirth. I forget exactly how many chapters there are, like 12 or 14 or something, and I'm on chapter 9. So I'm getting close to the end, unless it's just a very long chapter.
Sure.
But
Sure.
but yeah, it's very well done. I like the changes that they've made that I can identify, because it's been a long time since I've played the original
sure.
7. And it's a lot of fun. And I like the more open world aspect,
Sure.
because that's the type of games that I really jive with anyway. And they made it more open than what Remake was, so
Right.
big fan.
Did you play the remake that they did of Crisis Core?
Yes, Reunion. I played that around Christmas time this
Okay.
year. I forget when it actually came out, but I borrowed it from a friend and played it at Christmas, and it was good. I was a little... I knew that it was just a remake.
Sure.
Or not a remake, a remaster of the first game for
Right.
PSP. But I was still kind of hoping that it would have a remake effect
Sure.
to it, where they would add more to coincide with what 7 Remake and Rebirth
Right.
are doing, and they didn't do that. But it was still a very good game.
Nice.
Very fun.
So you talked about this, I think, on maybe the first podcast, but are you a, like, and not to bring it up again, but just to, are you a, like, one game at a time person, or are you playing multiple things right now?
Generally just a one game at
Okay.
a time person. Because I don't like to have a bunch of stories. I like to complete one and go on to the other. But there are some games that I will play simultaneously,
Oh,
like
I was just wondering. Yeah.
Kirby and the Forgotten Land, where
I
I've been
love that
playing.
game.
Yeah. So I'll play a
Still
couple
haven't
of
finished it, but, you know.
yeah, I'll do a couple of adventures in it, and then set it down for a few months, and then come back. Like something
Yeah,
that
that's how
I
I
can
play. Yeah.
that doesn't have a real story with it that I can
Okay.
come back to.
I was just wondering.
Dig it. All right, Karen, what are you playing right now?
I just restarted Jedi Survivor because the 1-year anniversary was last week,
Nice.
maybe. So, and I mean, you guys know, but they're like my favorite games.
Yeah.
Jedi Fallen Order and Survivor are.
It's like we planned this question or something.
I know.
I know. It's crazy like that.
So-
how strange you brought it up.
I'm just going to say this, Karen, and I don't want you to fight me about it, so let's
No,
just
it's
get
okay.
this over with. I know you're not bad at games because you can play both of those, and those games are not easy.
They're not, but I will say I at least the first playthrough played them both on story mode.
That's fine. It's still they're not
I'm
easy.
replaying now on either normal or probably normal.
Right.
I think I can't remember, but
What do you like about them?
you know, well, I mean, I'm a general, I guess, Star Wars fan
Sure.
in general, so I like that. I think they have really good stories. Like, I really like Cal Kestis as the main Jedi that you follow, and Marin's like a Night Sister that gets introduced. So there's some really cool lore that I think is in there. And then I didn't think that I would like Souls-like
Sure.
games, but I actually really like it. And that aspect I enjoy a lot.
Are you gonna dip into more Souls-likes later?
I don't know, maybe.
Gonna Elden Ring it now?
You
Are
know,
you ready
I
for
thought
that?
about it, but like the thing that scares me with those is that like on Jedi, I can put it in story mode and make it easy,
Sure,
but like
sure.
the actual Souls games,
Yeah.
like you can't do that,
Yeah.
and so that kind of scares me.
Yeah, I would like to point out the irony of you bringing up that you don't want to have to do the same thing 50 times in a row.
I know, and then I'm
But
like, I'm gonna play Souls.
I really like Souls-like
I know,
games,
I know.
which is where
But like,
they are known for. You have to figure it out.
but that's why I like that I can play on story mode because
true.
I didn't have to do it
So you can move
50,000
past it.
times, maybe 20, and that was like a lot.
Have you
but-
looked into that game about the Souls-like with the crab?
No, what is that?
Oh, you sent me. I can't remember the name of it. It's just come out fairly recently. It's like I'll have to look it up because I want to find it. But it's a Souls-like, but it's like you play a crab underwater and you fight other like weird crab things.
Interesting.
Oh.
Yes.
Yeah.
I did not realize that was a Souls-like game.
Yes.
I was so close to buying that, and now I'm
I have no
reconsidering.
idea
It's
what
called
that even
it's
is.
called Another Crab's Treasure. It's currently at like a 10 out of 10 on Steam.
Huh.
It's very popular. The music apparently is pretty good. It's also Souls-like. Everyone loves it.
I'm gonna
It
have to
looks
look
like
that
a
up.
great game.
Yeah,
It's
it
very
looks like a
cute.
great game. I've watched people
Well,
playing
maybe
it.
it's not cute with Souls-like, but
No, but that's the thing is that like people initially were complaining that it was too upbeat and cheery as a Souls-like, even though some of the attacks that the bosses do like one guy has like a crab like shell opener that he
Yeah.
catches you with and pops you, but in general people seem to really love it. So that's one you should look into.
I will, because
into
yeah,
that.
I've never heard of that. But that sounds interesting.
it looks like a fun game.
It does
I
look
had
like
no
fun.
idea it was supposed to be a Souls-like.
Yeah.
though. I did no research on it. I just
Right.
saw one video and said,
video.
"Oh, I want to play
that's
that."
fun. Yeah.
I every time I see it, I'm like I know I want to play it from looking at it, but I know once I start playing it, I might be frustrated. So I'm just gonna enjoy looking at it.
Well, that's the thing. I'm like really interested to find out if I would like other Souls-like
Sure.
games, or if it's because I really like the Star Wars
Right,
aspect.
the Star Wars of
that
it.
kind of gets me over some of that aspect of gameplay.
I dig it. I dig
Yeah,
it.
I don't know. The interesting thing about playing Jedi through the second time so far has been, so when Survivor came out last year, it got good reviews, except if you were playing the PC version because
Right.
it had a lot of
It had some
like
technical
issues.
issues.
But the funny part is, I didn't really have a lot of issues last year.
Mm-hmm.
So like I didn't come across any like soft locks. I didn't have I had frame rate drops because
Sure.
that was just happening, but honestly that doesn't really bother me.
Right.
And I didn't really have bad ones until maybe the last third of the game,
Okay.
I'd say.
The thing least played by the most people.
Right, yeah.
Play
Well,
tested.
especially me, because the Jedi games are like one of two of the only games I've ever actually finished, because that's probably a whole nother subject, but I very rarely finish games.
I hear you, sister.
Yeah, yeah, I know. We have that in common. But it's funny going back and playing it the second time now that there's been like a whole bunch of patches. It's terrible. It's crashed on me like 3 times.
Oh my gosh.
I had to figure out how to restart the game because I play on a Switch Pro controller.
Oh, okay.
And so when I played last year, no problems. It was fine, great, whatever. And now EA did some update, and so it no longer works. So I had to figure out a whole different way to load the game so that I could get controller configuration in there.
That's
It's been
awful.
really interesting that it got worse for me.
This will fix everything.
Yep.
Nah.
Definitely not.
The problem is, we're almost fortunate that PC games work on enough people's system.
I mean, that's true.
The variants are so big.
Yeah.
That the fact that it works for anybody is pretty amazing.
Absolutely.
So that's what I always
Yeah.
think when I'm playing it. I'm like, yeah, this probably could bug out, but it's just who knows? They can't plan
Yeah,
forever.
there's 1,000 different configurations you could have, right?
It's crazy.
Yeah. Well,
I am currently, the game I'm playing the most right now is Have a Nice Death.
Oh,
What?
nice.
Yes, it's
Excuse me?
it's a roguelike. Mm-hmm. I don't know if everybody listening to this knows what roguelike is. Rogue was a game made in the 80s that had kind of generated levels that you played through. So if you ever hear anything called a roguelike, it just means that the levels are generated. So you die a lot, and then you come back, and you get periodic upgrades that make you a little bit more powerful as you play. But the story is that Death got really good at taking souls. So good that he just became boring, and he just had to process paperwork, and all of his people did it. So he got sick of it, and he's going back through, and he's whipping all of his generals in shape, like Sorrow and all those folks. And then there's some secret person working in the background against him, which every playthrough you kind of learn a little bit more of the story as you're beating the bosses, and all these other things happening. It's cute and funny. It's a challenge. This was the game I posted on Facebook. This is the game that after I'd played for a while and I thought I was doing pretty good, it did a pop-up window. It's like, you can bring this down to easy mode. As a matter of fact, just hit A, and I'm going to take that down to easy mode for you. And I was like, excuse me? Excuse
I'm
me.
offended.
Excuse me.
Bitch.
I know, but then
How
I was
rude.
like, you know what? Maybe I am supposed
Like,
to be
the game's
farther
really
than
just
I am.
looking out for you.
Ultimately, it just wants me to have a good time and progress the story.
Absolutely.
But I didn't think I was doing too bad. Like, I beat the first boss a couple of times, and maybe it took me a little bit to do it. But I thought I was progressing well. But the game was like, no, you're not. You're not progressing well. You need to do more.
That's so funny. I've heard that's a good game.
Yeah, I thought you were going to name a totally different game as your current playthrough.
No, the other game that I was going to mention that is also I'm currently playing through is Metroid Prime Remastered.
Oh,
is it called Remastered?
It is.
On the
I'm
Switch.
playing that one, huh? All right.
As we've mentioned on the podcast before, I am a platformer person at heart. I'm a 2D-er just in general, just because I'm old, I think, more than anything.
Yeah, sure.
So a lot of games that I liked of it when they went to 3D, I just didn't play. Same, Zelda, Metroid. And then as I got old, I got motion sickness, which makes it even more difficult to play those kind of games. However, so I started Metroid Prime, and it's great. And one of the things that's great about it that I didn't realize, that obviously people that played it at its time realize, is that it's all of the things from Metroid, but in 3D. Like all the little creatures that you fight and everything. It's like a 3D version. Like you can scan it, you get all the clips of it, and it's fun. The game moves really well. And I don't know how much the remastered changed how the game played from whatever it was on originally to GameCube.
GameCube.
But it feels like a game that would be released for the Switch today. If it was released for the Switch today and somebody said try it, we'd go, oh yeah, that's absolutely a Switch game today. It's been fantastic. But it still gives me motion sickness even if I take a Dramamine.
No.
So I play it from safe spot to safe spot. It's
Yeah.
usually about as much as I can play before getting sick, but it is delightful. It has been a real joy to play so far in the 2 hours or so I've played so far.
Nice.
Yeah. It does suck that you're getting motion sickness. And one other thing that I want to point out, since it did come out on GameCube, the visuals that are in that game, it's not just that they went to 3D, but there's so many details that they added into it that make almost no sense for the time. Like, she'll walk through an area that's really steamy and the visor will steam up on her.
Oh, wow.
Or you can shoot your blaster into the wall and it'll reflect and you'll see her face in the visor where it reflects off the glass and stuff. Like, there's so many details that were added in that just make no sense because they were back in GameCube days.
Yeah, that's crazy back in GameCube days.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah. And like I say, because right now it feels the correct amount of modern for the Switch, and that they were doing that stuff on the GameCube.
Yeah,
which is amazing. It controls really smooth. Targeting 99% of the time works super smooth. I've really enjoyed it so far, and I just try to play as much as I can until I get sick. So
nice.
it's all good. Karen.
Yes.
What other Star Wars games have you played?
Honestly, not a whole lot.
Not a whole lot?
I played a lot of Battlefront 2.
Okay.
Like, I played a lot of that.
Okay.
I have, what is it, Squadrons?
Okay.
But I actually don't think I ever actually played it. So, like, really, I haven't played a lot of other Star Wars games.
This is the one that
like,
got
Fallen
you.
Order came out, and I was like, nah, it was
like, I'm
on
in.
sale, I think, in 2020 or whatnot. And, you know, I was stuck at home during the pandemic, and I was like, let me try this out. And I just really loved it.
Yeah, you killed it. Because when the second one came out, I was like, I think you'd beaten it before I realized it was out.
Yeah, well, so there was a reason for that. One, I mean, it was a good game. I really enjoyed it. I think I played it in like 4 days.
Yeah,
I think.
I think it was 4 days.
I played a lot. But I had an ulterior motive for that, which was it came out like 12 days before Tears of the Kingdom came out.
Oh, right.
And so I had a deadline. I had to like get
that's
it,
right.
play it, beat it, and then I could focus on Tears of the Kingdom, which I still have not beat.
You know what?
I mean,
I would have
is
known
that
that before
really
you
a
said
shock?
anything.
Because have you even beaten Breath of the Wild?
No,
yet?
I mean, well, that's
not to
true.
call you out.
I don't finish, as we've talked about, I do not finish most games. And like, I get stupidly close to the end. Like in Breath of the Wild, I'm like at Ganon.
I know that.
Like literally, that's all I have left to do. And I was like, you know what? I'm done. I don't need to finish this. And I do that a lot. Horizon, same way. I'm like at the very last, like part.
I kind of get it, but at the same time, I'm like, you're there.
Yeah,
you
might
can
as well
find
just
out what
finish the job.
happened.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is.
My brain works that way too.
Yeah.
Though I usually once I start to get that far, I'm like, maybe I'll finish it because normally I don't get that far. I say all that, but I'm probably that far with Final Fantasy 16 and I haven't finished it and I need to.
You
sit
did
down
beat
and finish it.
Ocarina of Time.
I did beat Ocarina of Time.
Nice.
Yeah, I did. I did beat Ocarina of Time, and that was like there's not only did I beat it, I didn't know much about it. Like I've seen a speed run or two happen, but like it's just a thing that happens.
Not like you can see shit when you're running backwards.
Yeah,
the whole
exactly.
time.
Yeah, the backwards hop stuff.
No offense to speedrunners.
No. Listen.
Very skillful skill. You can't see shit though.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
true.
It is not a
Speedrunners,
visual.
that's a whole different thing.
I'll
like,
tell you
man,
what.
they're impressive.
We got to talk about speedrunners at some point. That's definitely an episode we're going to have because I love speedrunning in a general sense.
Yeah.
I've always wanted to like, there's a game, but because of the way I play games, there's not a game.
Like,
There's
that'd be
very
hard.
few
You have
games.
to focus on that a lot.
There's very few games that I think I could actually sit down and focus on to do it. I think the Punch-Out games would be.
Okay.
I think if I thought there was a game that I might play enough,
be that.
it would be one of the Punch-Outs. Not the Wii one though, because somehow they got more racist when they did the Wii one. I don't know how they did
Really?
it. They were already pretty. Listen, one day when we talk about, I don't know when. One day I'm going to break down all of the racial caricatures of Punch-Out because they're so absurd that they're probably worth a mention. But
On this podcast?
yeah.
Future
Heck
episode,
yeah.
something to look forward to.
Oh yeah.
Call out the racist. Hell yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Racist Punch-Out. Like that's a whole episode. If I go down the list of all the Punch-Out characters and what their mannerisms and things they're known for,
I look forward to hearing it.
It's gonna be real bad.
Yeah. Look forward to that.
Casey, Star Wars games. You have Star Wars games you enjoy?
I mean, Battlefront was my favorite.
Battlefront.
Yeah.
I've seen a little bit of KOTOR,
Okay.
but other than that, I haven't played a lot.
I own a bunch of them. I just haven't actually played them.
So of the
Yeah.
games I've beaten, Knights of the Old Republic 1 and 2 are on that list.
Sure,
It's a very
yeah.
short list of games I've beaten. Those two are two of my favorite games. Now, I enjoy a game like Mass Effect in these games where it's a very binary 1-0 good and bad scale.
Okay, yeah.
And when you're just talking about light Jedi, neutral, gray Jedi, dark Jedi, it's just, do you save the children? Do you blow up their planet? They just
Yeah.
like, tick, tick, just hit one or the other. I love that. I love just picking an option and seeing the immediate bad or good of it. So I always enjoyed playing the heck out of those. I also when you said that, I was like, I have Squadrons too. I don't know if I've...
I have it. I really enjoyed watching people play it. I watched a lot of it on Twitch when it came out, and I bought it, and then I don't think I've ever actually played it.
I think I own. I think it's been released for free like 3 times too. So
Well,
I think
I
I have
think-
it for PC and for console.
I think that's why I have it. I feel like it was either on sale on Epic or free on Epic.
Yeah, I
and
think it was
that's
free
why
on
I
Epic.
have it.
Yeah, I think it was free on Epic. What about Lego? Lego Star Wars games or Lego games in general?
I do have a Lego Star Wars game. I forgot about that. I have the Skywalker Saga or whatever, the last one where they did all the movies.
They did everything.
I didn't get very far in it as like, are we surprised?
Sure.
But I enjoyed it. I just found something new to play. But yeah.
I played a lot of them, but they also give me motion sickness, so I can't play them for too long.
Yeah. Do they really? That's so sad.
No. It's just something the way the world turns.
Yeah.
Casey? Lego?
Haven't played a single one.
No.
This is one of my biggest gaps in gaming, I think.
Is the Lego games. I have the Lego Lord of the Rings too, but I didn't get very far in that at all. And I love Lord of the Rings. But
I've been working on trying to 100% the most recent Marvel Lego game.
oh, nice.
But there's a few missions that you like. A lot of the missions you can restart and then play like what you need to play to beat them because you play just a regular playthrough as the characters you're meant to,
right? And
then you can just pick any character, so you can just be like, I'm just gonna be Silver Surfer, and then I can blow up everything, whatever. But there's one that you have to play through it, and then you have to be on an airplane. You only get one shot to shoot the right thing.
Okay.
Then if you don't, you have to go back to the beginning and then play all the way to that point, and that just drives me nuts.
I would hate that.
Oh, I try, and so I really want to, but that's where I'm stuck on that to be able to 100% that son of a bitch.
Yeah. So are you a person who has to 100% games? Is that a thing?
Okay.
Well, I guess it wouldn't be if you don't finish games.
Well, no, the reason I don't finish games is that I am a person that needs to 100% them.
Ah, okay.
But I also don't like to 100%. Like, the reason I haven't started playing Red Dead again is that Red Dead 2 is I'm like, there's so much for me to do in there.
Oh, yeah.
And so I'm just like, why am I going to play it? I'm never going to do it. I'm never going to do it. All I want to do is fish and hunt and gamble. And I don't have enough. Or you have to get so far in the game to do that.
Right.
And it's just like, it's just too much to do. So no, normally I'm not 100%er. I'd like to. I don't have any platinum trophies or anything.
Yeah.
And I'd like to get one, which I thought maybe Final Fantasy 16 will be, and maybe it still will be at some point when I get back into playing it. But I have a kind of personality that once I'm looking at a game for so long, I'm just like, why am I doing this? I'm so sick of this.
Yeah, understand.
I'm so sick of looking at this game. What am I? I think I have like 1,025 games in my Steam library between all the sales and everything, and so it's just like I can play a different game every day, 2 different games every day, and not repeat for like a year and a half.
Sure,
it's a problem.
It's impressive.
It's a problem.
See, I'm a 90%er. I don't 100%. I'm not a completionist.
Yeah.
But if there's a game I like, I'm going to do most things that you can do in it.
Yeah, I'm definitely not a completionist.
And I tried to break myself of it because I'm like, look, I can either beat a game that I like and not worry about the side stuff, or if I'm going to do the side stuff, I need to do all the side stuff. But instead I do half of both.
Oh, yeah.
It's like,
yeah.
Worst.
I'm definitely selective about the games. Because if it's a game that I'm just like, yeah, this is fun, I'll finish the story and not care too much about side quests.
Sure.
But then, like Horizon, I did almost everything you can do. I think the tutorials for the weapons are about the only things that are left in the game that I'd never completed. So that's why I say I'm a 90%er, because I don't go back and do every single possible thing.
Right.
But I will do I will do a lot of stuff in that game if I can.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're right up against. So my buddy Monk, who I'll shout out on this podcast, he is kind of an obsessive game player in that he's like, I found this game, I'm ready to play it, I'm just gonna play a bunch of it. So he's like, out of the blue, like 2 weeks ago, he's like, I think I'm gonna beat we played a bunch of Red Dead Online, but he never played the single player ever.
Oh wow.
He's like, I'm gonna play the single player, and he beat it. And he's like, that was great. And now he's watching Shogun, and he's like, we gotta play Ghost of Tsushima.
Okay.
And he's like, I'm just gonna beat it, and it's the director's cuts on PC. So I'm like, okay, we're all playing Ghost of Tsushima. That's what we're doing. So, and I will play 50% of it and then drift off into space. But it's a delightful, beautiful game, and I'm looking forward to play. I have it on console, but I want to play the director's cut. Who knows why? But I'm gonna. So
sure.
That's what we're gonna do.
I played the director's cut. It's very, very good.
Played that. Huh? Said I have not played.
You would really enjoy it.
I know.
I was
thinking
gonna say,
I've seen stuff about it recently. I mean, I know it came out a while ago.
Well, but the PC release
right?
of the director's cut is like happening.
I was like, I thought I just saw it, and I was like, would I like that game? Maybe.
Yeah.
The first game I bought for my PlayStation 5.
Oh, nice.
One of my
Nice.
it's my second platinum that I got, I think.
Nice.
Exciting. Very nice.
Yeah.
So,
And there's a bunch of hullabaloo about it because Sony is saying that you have to have a PSN account.
oh, it's one of those like
Yeah.
Helldivers 2 is in
Yeah.
that same situation, right?
Yeah. But in
Well,
Helldivers 2,
Helldivers 2, they backtracked it, and they're saying that you don't have to have one now.
I did hear that.
but then what they're doing is they're not allowing you to buy the game in any location where you
well,
can't
that's
make
what
a
I was
PSN
thinking,
account.
right? It's still location locked or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
still got the locations locked. So
Crazy.
they're still going to come back later at some point.
and do
But
something.
currently,
Yeah.
all of the fans have convinced them, like, no,
Yeah.
this is a bad
Way to
idea.
go.
Yeah.
A
But Ghost of
protest that
Tsushima,
works.
they're not doing that. You have to have
You
a
have
PSN
to.
account. Even if you want to only play the single player stuff, you still have to have a PSN
Okay.
account to do it.
So that is a multiplayer game.
So they have
like, or-
they have like a co-op
Oh, okay.
special thing where you can do like co-op-y missions.
Yeah.
As well as the single player that they've added.
Oh, okay.
So we'll probably try it until
That's fun.
somebody gets bored of it.
That's
so.
something I want to get more into is like co-op multiplayer type stuff.
Yeah.
I don't play a lot of those. Mostly because being a woman on the internet
Oh,
with
yeah, yeah.
multiplayer
No, you gotta have
is
a-
terrible.
you gotta have a squad.
But also like it'd be fun.
Yeah, you gotta
and
have a squad.
I haven't done a lot of that in a long time.
Eventually, we got to get back in Diablo 4. Diablos are usually a good one where you can have a group, jump in, play for
Yeah.
a while, jump out, and it's not too bad. Baldur's Gate is a little bit more of a time intensive thing, but also a fun game that you can play with the group. But you almost have to schedule it like a D&D game. 'Cause
Right,
there's more-
yeah. I
more
need
of
to
that
get into
stuff.
that. I was kind of talking about, going back to earlier about like formative gaming stuff. I spent a lot of time watching my brothers play video
Oh,
games,
sure.
even though I'm older than them, but they were big video game players. But multiplayer made me think of that because I used to play a lot of, like Counter-Strike.
Oh,
the
sure,
original.
sure, sure.
Like played a lot
Yes.
of my brother played a
Yes.
lot of that. But I watched a lot of that and played a lot of that. But I haven't done a lot of back then playing multiplayer you were a little bit more
Yeah.
like
A
anonymous,
little
I
bit
guess,
more,
than you
yeah.
are now. And
Yeah.
so but yeah, I'd love to get back into all that. So anyway.
Do you I don't know if we talked about FPSs too much besides GoldenEye. Did you FPS much or?
I played Halo a good bit.
Oh, Halo.
I loved Halo.
Yeah.
Yeah, and GoldenEye when it
Yeah.
was still like,
Perfect
the
Dark,
game.
obviously we talked about.
Yeah, Perfect
Yeah,
Dark.
TF2, I played a lot of that back in the day.
So at my old
Yeah.
job before I just left, we every Thursday as a team we'd play TF2.
Nice.
It's a fun little,
yeah.
and the fact that it's still alive, it still has
Well, that's
servers
the
you can
thing.
play.
Yeah, that's an old game at this point.
It's
It's
like
like
12
2000
years old, 15 years old.
Yeah, I was gonna say probably older than that. Yeah.
Close to it. Orange Box days.
Yeah,
Orange
right.
Box days.
That was early 2000s.
Yeah.
So
Box days.
yeah, had
I
the
don't know
orange
about
box.
early. It was like 2008.
Half-Life came out in
I
1998.
call that the early 2000s.
All right.
I'm just saying in my book.
I wish this was a
I guess
visual
I'm thinking
medium
of like
because if you,
2000s being 0 to 9, and then it's the 10s.
right.
So
Right. But she was thinking of all of the numbers that have
2008's
existed.
before 10. It's
as
early.
2000.
I don't know.
I get it. I get you.
I get it when you're thinking about the millennium or the century, but
Yeah, I guess. Yeah.
I just wish
within
that,
the decade.
Yeah.
I just wish this was a visual medium so everybody could see Casey's face as she would you respond to that?
look that I
Because it
got.
was fantastic.
Like, I'm great at poker. I don't have a great poker face for anything else.
No, she did not. She gave you full barrels of WTF, mate.
She absolutely did.
Well, Karen, thanks for rejoining us at our secret podcasting location.
Yeah, thanks. Anytime.
To do another episode. We appreciate having you.
I'll come by whenever.
Casey, thanks as always for both the fantastic faces that you made and for the delicious podcasting. And I'm also here. Thanks for listening, everybody. Goodbye.
Goodbye.